Let's discuss convergence theory and the principle of something that may be holding you back. My name is Gerald, welcome back to Car Chat, and this is going to be just another casual chat here on the workshop. It feels like every time I try to get ahead in life, obstacles begin to appear, like they seem to auto-generate in the simulacrum of reality around me. It is like every time I climb the rungs of ladder to improve my life quality, suddenly obstacles start popping up, and these obstacles make me want to stray from the path. Why could this possibly be? When we sit down and we think about it, isn't it odd that the second you start to make more money, you start to have higher bills? You could argue this is your own issue, your own point, that you cannot obtain because now you have new needs, new responsibilities, so you have to fulfill these needs. That being said, what if it's something a little bit more sinister? What if the universe itself is actively colluding against you? Like, take me for example. I'm having a little bit of a bad day today. My boss wrote me up at work, and he got irritated because they gave me a bad diagram to use for my job. Now, isn't that odd? It's a completely faultless crime, yet I cannot even argue against it. And yet it happens right as I'm beginning to make work on this channel, right as I'm beginning to build up my confidence. Something pops up to try to smash it down. Now, the idea of convergence is a principle that is borrowed from time travel theory. Namely, I'm leaning on Steins Gate to try to use the multi-worlds interpretation to explain what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying there are multiple worlds. We're not truly talking about time travel, but we're talking about the convergence principle because the idea is that as you begin to enact change, reality itself begins to shift around you, and then it throws obstacles in your way to try to hinder you. It's a ladder, and half of the rungs are broken. And once you hit that broken ladder rung, it's almost as if everything begins to collide. Now, at first, you may say this is paranoia. And perhaps it is. Perhaps there is a little bit of paranoia to this. But on the other hand, let's take this and think about this rationally, okay? If paranoia is a principle itself, and paranoia, how can I express this? Let me try to get my thoughts in order. Sorry. Just because you're paranoid does not mean someone is not out to get you. That's the statement I was trying to remember. And it's absolutely the case. But that's not what I'm technically saying. What I'm trying to say, it's almost as if reality reacts to the energy you're outputting, to what you're trying to accomplish. For example, if you write a book, you can get through the opening part very easily. I know. I've written hundreds of openings myself, but then you get to the middle, and then it's almost like the world itself is trying to steal your time. Like the very principle of reality is trying to stop you. Something is hindering you. Either you get writer's block, or somebody gets in your way, or you start having more issues, and you have to really sit down and consider why. Could this be a facet of reality that we don't really acknowledge? This adversarial relationship we have as we begin to advance. And I kind of wonder if there's something to this. If it's not as if that people are being affected by an unconscious field where they begin to have their own emotions and mentality shift. Like, for example, we know that if you show confidence in certain fields, people with lesser confidence will want to try to drag you down to their level. It's human nature. We all do this every single day. And yet, why? Why do they try to do this? And why do they think that they can try to damage your confidence when they have lesser confidence? By trying to push down another person, do they hope to pull themselves up? It's really quite unusual when you think about it. And we don't really talk about these things we see every single day, okay? And we don't. And we normally just stop and say, okay, this is something people do. But what if this is something that nature does? Like the universe itself is built on a principle of adversarial relationship. More or less, the universe itself has a type of self-awareness in a algorithmic sense, like in the Platonic sense of the supreme logos. When I say the Platonic sense of the supreme logos, he believed in a absolute logic being the ultimate judgment of all human things. And what if this is what we're really contending against? What if this logic is not to our benefit? What if it is indeed an adversarial relationship? Now, you have to excuse me for going on such a high-minded tangent, but I'm really trying to wrap my head around this concept. See, in Steins Gate, there is a point in the story where every time the main character tries to alter a certain event, he cannot because of a concept called an attractor field. The attractor field will pull every possible world line, that is, multiple worlds that exist within a tight bundle of string next to each other, into these knots where they all converge. And the whole reason I'm suggesting that maybe the universe has this convergence issue for every ladder rung you try to climb in your life. I mean, it certainly feels that way, doesn't it? Because it's not just happening to me, it's happening to other people too. It's happening to all kinds of things at all times. And I always have found the idea of attractor fields very interesting as a principle, as a concept. But that is high-minded science. It's nothing that you can really learn about and truly interact with, because in the end of the day, time travel is still a fictional technology as far as we know. Still, it is odd that, for example, you begin to do something and there's immediate reaction by the universe trying to kick you back. And I don't know what is causing it. Like, I feel like it's just me being skeptical, me being cynical, me being negative. But at the same time, I'm also trying to maintain positivity and try to focus on moving forward with a singular isomorphic idea, a true ideal, that there has to be a principle behind every single one of these reactions. After all, if we look at chaos theory, one event knocks onto another event, which knocks onto another event, and then we start bouncing back and forth. That leads into the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps her wings, and there's a hurricane and a typhoon in Japan, okay? That's the kind of concept we're discussing. Chaos theory goes a step further, where they basically dictate that every single event with enough data can be completely understood, that nothing is truly free. That predetermination is the default base for beings, because every neuron, every atom will react to another atom in a certain way. So a person will always have a certain idea because another person ate lunch somewhere or a dog fell off a cliff. It's very odd when you start to think about this. Now, there are people out there who will tell you that all you have to do is put forward positive energy, and this will overcome this. And certainly, positive energy will boost up your confidence, but I'm not sure that it is truly what will let you get over this convergence, this principle which seems to be holding us back. And it's a very difficult problem. Like, on here right now, I am just merely speculating, trying to understand. It could just be coincidence. Take no mistake. This all could just be accidental, not on purpose, and just be happening like in a normal cascading effect. But there could be something more to it. And that's the part that scares me. The part that, what if the universe itself has a conscious algorithm that is working against us and slowly warping us, and then we have to overcome these trials. It's literally like the trial of Sisyphus. If you don't know the tale of Sisyphus, it is Sisyphus pushing up the boulder every day, and he gets to the top and the boulder rolls down the other side, and he has to go down to the other side and roll the boulder right back up. And in my life, I have seen this effect over and over again. I have climbed aimed as high as I can climb, and then there is some unsurmountable force that pushes me back down to where I began. But I always get back up, and I always keep climbing. And I think that is what really separates us from creatures who are not rational, creatures who are not able to use logos. Now, that being said, could it be that if we had no barriers, because indeed there are some people out there who have no true barriers, would this be such a adversarial relationship? Like, is there a way to turn this algorithm into your favor? And unfortunately, I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't be sitting here chatting with you right now. I can only rationalize and try to grasp at this principle, this elusive thing I see that right beyond my eyes. And I know this is a bit of a scattershot, so let me try to dovetail this into it. But one of the things I really loved about Steins Gate is no matter how many times the main character fails, he always attempts again. He will always go back and do it again. And I can highly recommend that show if you've never seen it. It is a fantastic watch for the first season. The OVAs are just light fluff. The movie is a great conclusion. Steins Gate Zero is a bit of a contradiction. It is a bit of a anomaly. It's not a good conclusion to the series. Like, I really want to just do a dedicated video talking about Steins Gate one of these days, and I want to dive into it more. I don't like Steins Gate Zero very much, because I feel like it betrays something fundamental about the series. I actually prefer the movie as the canon ending to the story. To me, that is where the story ended. Oh, sorry, somebody honked a horn. But yeah, no. So, if we know that problems as we climb up the ladder in our life seem to arise, then all we have to do is simply overcome these problems, right? Like the problem I have today is very simple. I have multiple options to overcome it. In fact, it's not even a real problem per se. It is just merely a hindrance, not an issue. And yet, I feel this type of nagging worry in the back of my mind, this type of creeping doubt that tells me to try to stop. I didn't even want to record a car chat after today. I've been working like a dog all day long, and at the very beginning of my day they decided to do something that would poison my mind from there on forth by having this irrational, unfair judgment passed on me. I can no longer have a rational discussion, and then it puts me into an emotional state when I need to be in a logical state. In a logical state, I need to defend myself and try to, no, that's an emotional state. In the logical state, I need to simply look at all the options that lie before me. The true answer is I just need a different job. And that's the easiest and best solution to my entire issue I'm seeing. But at the end of the day, there are other obstacles that pop up as well, like mechanical failures that you cannot physically solve, and you don't have the knowledge to solve it, and it's not safe for you to solve it. Which means, how do you surpass things like that? It's a hard question, isn't it? And there is no real good answer in this case. It's very odd of a principle. Honestly, this episode is a little bit of a scattershot. Normally, I like to try to make these car chats more concise, more focused. But tonight, I'm touching on something that I don't even really have a proper name for. I'm calling it the Convergence Principle because it feels like once you climb up each rung of the ladder, a new problem appears before you. And it always seems to happen right as you're about to move up and your life is about to improve. Then suddenly these obstacles appear out of the woodwork. And I think that is something we need to really think about. Something we all need to consider and try to figure out. Like, for me, I'm going to read more of the Feynman lectures later. I highly recommend you to read Feynman lectures. If you haven't seen Steins Gate, go sit down, watch it. It's a high recommendation from me, okay? Steins Gate Zero, it's something. It's not bad, but I'm not sure it really fits with the story. And yeah, guys, I'm just going to conclude with that thought. When you start to succeed, do you notice problems start to arise? Guys, and why does it always seem to happen right as something becomes successful? Okay, guys, this has been Gerald from the Workshopium, and I wish all of you a good night. Peace.